When you picture the world's deadliest animal, what pops into your head? Is it something huge? Something with massive teeth and claws? Well, we're about to find out what the real answer is. And I can pretty much guarantee you it is not what you're thinking.
Is it something like this guy? You know, big, powerful, with teeth like daggers? A classic apex predator. Go ahead and hold that image in your mind. We're going to come back to it.
Okay, so to find the real answer, we first have to agree on what we even mean by deadly. Because, as you'll see, it's a much broader term than you might think.
So here's the key. Deadly just means any animal that can kill another organism. That could be for an attack, like hunting for food, or it could be for self-defense. That's it. It casts a surprisingly wide net.
And this really shows that deadly doesn't always mean big. I mean, on the one hand, you have the raw brute force of a tiger, but on the other, you have the blue-ringed octopus. It's tiny, but its venom is so potent it can kill a full-grown human. So you've got power versus poison, two very different but very deadly strategies.
All right, so let's take a look at the animals we usually think of as deadly. You know, the ones with those really impressive physical arsenals.
First up, the great white shark. It's a top predator for a very good reason. Its entire strategy is just pure power. It can disable enormous prey with one single devastating bite, and then it just, waits. Chillin'.
Or, hey, let's go way down into the deep ocean, where you'll find the giant squid, a true monster of the deep. It uses those incredibly powerful arms and tentacles to just grab its prey, and then it uses a sharp, hooked beak to tear it apart. Wild.
But again, power isn't just about size. This little guy is the peacock mantis shrimp. It swings a pair of clubs so fast, and I mean literally the speed of a bullet, that it can hammer a crab's shell into pieces. It can even shatter aquarium glass. That is just absolutely incredible.
So brute force is definitely one way to be deadly, but nature's arsenal is, well, it's a lot more diverse than just that.
You've got the obvious weapons we've been looking at, just overwhelming strength delivered through muscles, jaws, and claws. Then you have what's basically chemical warfare, venomous bites, painful stings, and poisons that shut down prey from the inside out. But there's one other category here, one that is way more subtle and, as it turns out, far more dangerous: spreading disease.
And that brings us to this really crucial quote from our source material. The most dangerous killers of humans are animals that spread disease. This right here, this is the key. This is where our whole focus is about to shift from the big, scary predators to something much, much smaller.
Okay, so we've seen power, we've seen venom, and now we've introduced disease. I think it's time we finally answer the big question.
So I want you to forget what you think you know. Forget all the scary movies. Based purely on the numbers, which animal is responsible for the most human deaths year in and year out?
Just take a look at this chart for a second. Over on the far right, you see the animals we're all afraid of, right? Sharks? They account for about 10 deaths a year. Lions? Maybe 100. Even hippos and crocodiles combined don't even break 2,000. But now, look all the way to the left. That massive, towering bar, that's the mosquito. It's not even in the same ballpark. Let that number just sink in for a minute. 725,000. That's how many people are killed by mosquitoes every single year. It is not even a contest. So how on earth can this tiny insect be so unbelievably lethal? Well, it's because mosquitoes, like this one, are parasites. They feed on our blood, and when they do that, they become what's known as a vector, spreading deadly diseases like malaria from one person to the next. They don't need jaws or claws. They use a weapon that's far, far more effective.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? I think it's that our whole perception of what's truly dangerous might be, well, a little bit skewed.
On one side of the scale, you have our perceived danger, the big, obvious predators that we see and fear. But on the other side, you've got the cold, hard statistical danger. The biggest threat actually comes from a tiny insect we barely even notice.
And really, that's the crucial point, isn't it? Our instincts are wired to fear the big, the loud, the obvious threat. But the data shows us that the greatest danger is often silent. It's small, and it spreads completely unnoticed. It really makes you wonder, if we get this so wrong with animals, what other invisible dangers might we be misjudging in our everyday lives?